Several speakers have already told you, and you know already, this is an area of outstanding natural beauty. That means it's part of our national heritage. It means those of us who live here have to look after it. It means those of us who visit have to look after it. And it means the government has to look after it, and that includes Mr. Hammond. Well done. He seems to have forgotten that. You cannot possibly be called a NIMBY if you're looking after national heritage. We have been worried all the way through that the HS2 campaign has underestimated and understated the impact on the environment. And you may remember that actually HS2 began as a project not to heal the north-south divide, that ludicrous claim. It was a tit-for-tat battle over who was the greenest party with the third runway. Now we seem to have forgotten all about that. That's partly because the environmental case is utterly threadbare. I'm about to lay it open even further. But we have been concerned throughout to make sure that the documentation published, of which there is an absolutely massive amount, as I'm sure you've discovered, that it is accurate and that we can rely upon it. Well, I have to tell you, we can't rely upon it. And I'm reporting you today a new fact that we have discovered, which I think should alarm all of us. HS2 state that in creating the tunnels and cuttings through the Chilterns, they will excavate 680,000 cubic metres of spoil. Now that may sound an awful lot to you, but we have calculated they're wrong, and they're wrong by 17 times. The real figure is 12 million cubic metres of spoil. Now if you can't imagine what that looks like, it's a pile of spoil 2,000 metres long, 200 metres wide and 50 metres high. That's the height of Nelson's column. That's an awful lot of muck. And where's it going to go? Well, I don't know. I don't think they know. It's a terrible thought that we may end up with something like 1.7 million lorry movements on our roads while they take it away. 1.7 million. That's equivalent to a lorry every 26 seconds, every working hour, every working day for 5 years. We will have to put up with that, with all the noise and the pollution and the dust. Now why does that matter, apart from the fact we are going to suffer? It matters greatly because we cannot trust the information being given to us. Despite spending £12 million a month on consultants, they cannot get their basic calculations right. It means we must worry about whether or not we are being told the truth, and whether we have to dig it out for ourselves. Well, you can imagine if they told us in the first place it involved 12 million cubic metres of spoil, we'd have got even more upset. So make sure you challenge them on this at the road shows during the coming week, because they have to get the answers right. And if they don't give you the correct answer, record it and we will quote it back to them at a later date. Now, it's fair to say, and we all accept this, that from time to time a national project comes forward that we need as a country, and somebody's going to have to pay the price. And I'm sure to begin with, many of us thought perhaps HS2 came into that category. But the harder we look, the worse the case gets. And we are certainly of a view that the price we are being asked to pay is not acceptable. I think we're all big enough to see what national benefit looks like, and sometimes argue for it ourselves, knowing what the pain might be. But the claims for economic benefits further north are ludicrous. You've heard that already from Hilary, absolutely ludicrous. And we have to also put ourselves in the bigger picture. And it struck me doing some research for today that we already play our role in providing transport infrastructure serving the north. And here's a 20-second history lesson for you. We have the oldest road in the country in the Ridgeway. The main road leading from London to the north, the Romans built, is Watling Street. That goes through the Chilterns. We have the Grand Union Canal. We have the West Coast Main Line and the Chiltern Line. We have the M1 and the M40. We have no less than 8 A-class roads going from London to the North and Midlands. We have 2 airports on our doorstep in Luton and Heathrow. And when it comes to modern communications, we have far more than our share of masts. So how dare anyone tell us we're NIMBYs? So, what are the other environmental impacts we need to know about that you will not be told properly about at the road shows? Well, I can tell you that the area of land which is going to be literally concreted over will be something like 5,000 acres. And astonishingly, HS2 refused to reveal that figure. They claim they don't know what the land take is. We've had to work it out ourselves. We're going to lose 5,000 acres of countryside. That's a lot of farmland. That's a lot of food that's not going to be produced. We're going to have no less than 50 hectares of ancient woodland destroyed or damaged beyond repair in the Chilterns. And we are not making any more ancient woodland. Once it's gone, it's gone. We're going to have 10 sites of special scientific interest damaged. 25 rights of way will be severed for a decade, some of them permanently. We're going to be losing sites of scheduled ancient monuments, listed buildings, and of course we're going to lose our valued landscape, and it doesn't get any finer than that, does it? So, we know we're going to take a big hit on the physical environment. But to begin with, the government claimed we are going to use HS2 as part of a low carbon economy. We're going to reduce our carbon emissions as part of binding international commitments. So what does that actually mean? Well, HS2 trains, high-speed trains, actually use at least double, if not triple, the amount of energy that conventional trains do. That means 3 times the emissions. They are more polluting. They will create millions of car and train journeys per year for people to go and catch these new high-speed trains. But they hope to offset that by stopping people from flying. And it's an entirely bogus argument. There is a declining market in Britain for domestic aviation, and we're really only talking here about London to Glasgow and Edinburgh. The number of flights between Manchester, Leeds and Newcastle to London are very small indeed. So what HS2 has done is it inflated a declining market by 178%. They said we think most of those people will now go on trains. Therefore, a certain number of flights won't make it into the air. That therefore is an equivalent carbon saving. Now there's a massive flaw in all of that. That carbon is only saved if those flights are not replaced by flights somewhere else. Now you'd be mad as an airline or an airport operator to say, okay, we'll keep these valuable slots free. British Airports Authority has already said, no, these flights will be replaced by other flights, and from Heathrow there will almost certainly be long-haul flights. That means that HS2 is not only generating more emissions directly, it's going to lead to increased aviation emissions. And that's topped off by Birmingham Airport, which as you know will get its own station, saying, oh, we think we can grow by 50%. So it's a massive, massive negative impact on the environment, both here, both on the physical environment and on carbon emissions. There are no environmental gains at all. Now, I'm going to finish off by a couple of quotes, if I might. Firstly, from Andrew Gilligan of the Daily Telegraph. The burning need in public transport is not for sexy, pointy-nosed high-speed trains whose economics simply don't stack up. It's for boring, unglamorous improvements to the services we actually use, we actually need. I have to say, generally, I've been enormously enthused by the breadth of the alliance of people and organisations who, like us, have taken a hard look at this and realise it's not what we need, it's not what we want. It's a rare thing for an alliance to include everybody from the Friends of the Earth to the Taxpayers Alliance, the Daily Telegraph, the Sustainable Development Commission. That is the full spectrum. Now, one final quote to finish off with, and I think it encapsulates what we all feel about this. This is from Prince Charles. The countryside means different things to all of us. For some, it is a place of beauty and tranquility. For many, it is a place to live and work. But we can all agree it is surely one of the greatest treasures of our nation. Thank you.